round of applause to all of our winners. Just as a reminder, the Governor's Council on Disability accepts nominations for the annual awards programs each fall. If you know of an individual or organization who deserves recognition for their commitment to inclusion and improving lives, I encourage you to participate by submitting a nomination. The nomination forms will be available by October on our website. Thank you for joining us to celebrate these outstanding winners, and please enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sam Seavey, our keynote for today that we're excited to hear from, which is great to follow after these incredible candidates and individuals. Love hearing that every year, like David said earlier. So Sam Seavey is a charismatic and cool face behind the influential YouTube channel, The Blind Life. And show of hands, how many of you guys have ever watched a video on YouTube that, yeah, I've got about half the hands, so the other half are gonna want to after you hear Sam. And so he's a trailblazing social media influencer who has shattered stereotypes and inspired countless individuals, including me. He has helped me to do my job better and to train better. He was born with a visual impairment, and Sam's journey to becoming a prominent figure in the blind community began with a desire just to share his experiences and insights with others facing similar challenges. And his YouTube channel is now the top AT channel. So you know you have to go see it. So he offers a wealth of information on that, valuable information content, including tutorials on adaptive technology, new devices coming out. I always go to his channel first for all of those new demos before we actually get our hands on them in ETC. And candid discussions about the daily realities of living with blindness. And his impact actually extends even beyond the confines of social media. He collaborates with all the big dogs, and they talk to him about accessibility, so that is built in and not just an afterthought, right? And we're all big on that. So in summary, Sam Seavey, through his influential platform of The Blind Life, he's not only transformed the way that society perceives blindness, but he's also empowered countless of individuals, countless of us to embrace their abilities, pursue their passions, and live life to the fullest. Sam Seavey.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I didn't even really need to come up here. You could have just stood up here and talked about me for. Well, thank you guys so much. Although it's always annoying having to go after they give out awards, because I'm not nearly as cool as all the people that just got announced up here. But I thank you guys so much for having me. How do I switch through the, do I have a clicker for my presentation, or should I just use the space bar here?
Yeah, probably. I don't see a clicker up there. Do you need one of us to be up there to do that?
No, we'll make it work here. That's all right. So, thank you guys. Power Up 2024. This is so exciting. This is my second year at this conference. I was here last year, and that was my first experience. And I was very surprised at the size and the scope of this conference. I think it's fantastic. Usually, my experience in these kind of regional conferences don't tend to be this well done. So kudos to the people that are putting this on. You're doing a great job. And I'm excited to be back. Thank you very much. So on the screen here are my contact information, my website, theblindlife.net, N-E-T-net. Honestly though, if you just Google The Blind Life, you'll be able to find me that way. So I am an assistive technology specialist, as well as a content creator, social media content creator, and advocate for the blind community. Let's see if we can. Oh, there we go. We got it. Okay, I work at a nonprofit where I run an assistive technology program, and it's called Bluegrass Council of the Blind. It's in Central Kentucky. We are an affiliate of the American Council of the Blind. And I'm in charge of the program, so all the stuff that I talk about on my channel, I also do in real life, working with clients, usually seniors. A lot of the same things that you guys in here working with clients do, training, all of that, I do as well, and I love it, it's fantastic. Now, my story, so my vision story, we can't really talk about what I'm doing currently without kind of going back and seeing how it all started. So, way back in 1985, dating myself, at the tender age of 11 years old, I was diagnosed with Stargardt's disease. Stargardt's, if you're aware of it, or not aware of it, it's a juvenile form of macular degeneration. So, no central vision, peripheral still pretty decent, but don't have that detailed vision. And it's a recessive gene that causes Stargardt. So, 2 recessives were floating around out there in the world, and tale as old as time, they found each other, and against all odds found each other. And my sister and I were the results, and we both have Stargardts. We're the only 2 kids in the family, and we both have it. No one else that we know of in the family has any type of vision loss due to any kind of inherited retinal diseases. So we are special. I say we won the genetic lottery and the low vision lottery and drew the genetic short straws. And that's okay. Growing up, it was fine. Outside of school, I was a normal kid like everybody else. I rode my bike, I rode my skateboard, I hung out with my friends, had a great time. In school, though, it was a slightly different situation because it was much harder to hide in school. Especially when they would constantly, once again, this is late 80s, early 90s, so it was a different time, but they would put us in the front row and with our large print books and our monocular and say, best of luck. Sometimes they would even scoot my desk up to the board, the chalkboard, so my desk is butted up against the chalkboard wall, and just to further segregate me from my peers behind me. So it was tough. And then of course, having a giant head didn't really help either. It was more fodder for the bullies, but it was okay. I always had to try to have a positive attitude about things. I was always the sarcastic class clown kind of thing, but I made it happen. I made it work. Public schools all the way up until high school. Ended up going to 4 different high schools my 4 years of high school, which a lot of people are like, wow, that's tough. But yeah, it was. But once again, I tried to not let it get me down. In between my junior and senior year of high school, I got to attend a school for the blind for a summer program in Raleigh, North Carolina, my hometown. And it was fantastic. I loved it. That was the first experience being around other blind kids other than my sister. And I was like, these are my people. This is it. I finally found my true peers, and it was awesome. After that program wrapped up, I begged my parents to let me go to that school for my senior year of high school. And I've had fantastic parents. Anything their kids needed with regards to their vision loss, they were happy to make it happen. So they said, yeah, that's what you want to do, we'll do that. You can go there for your senior year. So I did. I went to the Governor Moorhead School for the Blind in Raleigh, North Carolina. Is anybody familiar with GMS? Probably not too much this far to the west. Okay, thank you. So it's a great school. It's a great school. Very old school. Here's the aerial shot of the area. The Governor Moorhead School is on the left there, and in fact, we've got an outline around it here, so it's a satellite shot of it. And beautiful campus, very green, very open. But if you guys, your eagle-eyed members here might notice what's right next door to it. Central Prison. Down in the heart of downtown Raleigh, North Carolina is the Governor Moorhead School for the Blind, K through 12, and within a stone's throw, Central Prison. And it's only separated by a small road, like a 2-lane road, that the students, we would walk down that road all the time. And when we did, the inmates would yell at us from the prison. So I just love that. I mean, and of course, being sarcastic teenagers, we'd yell right back at them. So there's my reaction to having a prison. So, but nevertheless, I am a huge fan of Schools for the Blind. I'm a big proponent of that, for the right person, and advocate for that. So, you guys are awesome. I've heard lots of people. We've got some representatives from KSSB, I believe. So that's awesome. So, my YouTube story though, getting into that. It all started back in 2013 when I was creating content for another YouTube channel based around mobile devices, mobile technology, Android systems. So I was teaching people how to take the operating system off their Android, put it on their computer, fiddle around with it, unlock things, technically hacking, I guess you could say, and then put it back onto the Android phone and just make it awesome. So in doing that though, every now and then I would feature some application or some setting that I had used to make my phone easier to use for my vision loss. And I got a lot of positive feedback from those videos, people in the community saying, I didn't even know my phone could do this. This is awesome. What else can it do? And so that kind of got me thinking that maybe there was a need on YouTube for this information. And so I started searching around, and I did a search in December of 2013 for Stargardt's disease on YouTube, and there wasn't very much at all. There were a couple clinical videos, doctors talking about the condition, but that's not really what I was interested in. I really wanted to learn about people living with the condition and how they were coping and that sort of thing, and there wasn't anything. There was maybe one or two videos. So I thought, you know what, I've been making videos on YouTube for a couple years now. I should just start my own channel and share my life living with vision loss. And so I did. So The Blind Spot was born December of 2013. The name was an homage to my central vision loss with my big blind spots. But I also wanted it to be a literal spot on the internet where people could come and learn about vision loss. And at the beginning, it wasn't anything special. I just started making videos about whatever jumped into my mind about having to do with vision loss. And slowly over time, though, it grew, as things do on YouTube. And around 2016, the name changed to what it is now, The Blind Life. And that is really where it started to pick up and started to be heavily focused on assistive technology, because that also corresponded with a time when I started working as the AT program at the nonprofit where I still work to today. So I was surrounded by assistive technology and was able to share with my audience the different devices that were available and what the possibilities were. So The Blind Life, better name, I think. The name better reflects what the channel is about as I share my life and hopefully, fingers crossed, help others improve their blind lives. It's grown to be, as Barbara said, or Brenda said, one of the top AT channels. It's one of the top blind themed or category channels in the world, and it is the #1 channel for assistive technology reviews and information resource in the blind community. It's pretty awesome. I checked this morning. I have 870 something, I forget exactly, videos on my YouTube channel, just videos. When you include live streams, which I'm doing a live stream right now, in fact. When you include live streams, shorts, things like that, I probably have close to 1,000 things on my YouTube channel. Wow. So, yeah, so it's a great, thank you, Russ. It is a great resource. I have tried everything practically out there for the blind community as far as assistive technology. Everything you see in these rooms here, chances are I've tested out. And we're going to be talking about that here next. Jumping ahead of myself here. So this next slide, it says the best time in history, and shows some like cowboys and horses and things, and it really is. I love living right now, because we are living in the best time in history to live with vision loss because we have assistive technology. If you can imagine, the next slide here shows a couple of Wild West scenes, like a saloon and a horse and wagon. You can imagine living back then as a blind individual. It would have been a nightmare. I would have hated it. I am much more happy living right now. And that is because of assistive technology. So now these next couple of slides are just images of devices that I have reviewed on my channel, or I talk about things just to give you guys some ideas. All of the pictures, too, incidentally, are thumbnails from videos I've done. So this first slide is talking about video magnification. I have tried just about every type of video magnifier, CCTV, whatever, out there, including here I have the Cloverbook Pro XL, which I just did a review of last Saturday.
I heard it's your favorite.
It is one of my favorites. It is a fantastic device. It is the successor to my all-time favorite video magnifier of the Cloverbook Pro.
Exactly.
I also have the Luna 6 on here, and I forget what else is on here.
Snow 12.
Snow 12, thank you very much. I cover all types, small handhelds up to portables, up to full desktop systems. I even have several videos on DIY video magnification. You know, if you can't afford, your client can't afford a $4,000 device, what can we do with an iPad and a stand? You know, and an HDMI cable. How can we convert that into the video magnification that they need? So lots of cool stuff there. Next we have wearables. I've tried them all. Iris Vision, eSight, Vision Buddy, everything. I've tried them all and have full review videos of them on my channel. The other thing I should mention is all of my videos are 100% honest. You know, I come at it from the perspective of an AT trainer as well as an AT user. So I'm not going to, people always ask me, what are you excited about? I don't get excited anymore, because I've seen it all. So I'm not going to get, excited about a new higher resolution camera. If it helps, then I will let you know. If it doesn't help, I'll let you know that too. OCR devices, Orcam, I've got the Lyric on there. I've tried them all too. I love the Orcam. If anybody's interested, I think it's fantastic. I think they have one of the best OCR in the game, especially with it being offline OCR, so there's no security concerns. It's fantastic. I'm a fan of the Reed, Orcam Reed. Next, we have accessible phones. As I mentioned before, I cut my teeth on mobile accessibility. So I think in my Android playlist, I have over 100 videos alone. I'm an Android fan at heart, although I do use an iPhone as well. But I just love the customizable options on Android, and I feature everything. So I talk about smartphone accessibility, I talk about other alternatives like the blind shell, like the smart vision, like the memory phone, using an Alexa to make phone calls. I cover all of that stuff. New cane technology. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. I have a slight, it's not a problem, but I have a slight cane addiction. If you ask my wife, she says I have too many. I have over 30 canes. Yeah, and they're all hanging in my closet. I love it. I love the whole idea of the cane. I am a cane user mostly for identification. I should have brought one up, kind of navigating the stairs on the way up. Now I'm second guessing not bringing one up, but that'll be okay. But I love to feature new cane technology and the crazy cane technology. So this image here is the all-terrain cane. I brought that last year and showed you guys in person the all-terrain cane. Fun fact, they just came out with you could say it's version 2, which is called the Urban Explorer. And it's lightweight, more lightweight. It's not as heavy duty, but it still has a lot of the same features that make the all-terrain cane pretty awesome. But I do feature like the light-up canes, the LED canes, the See Me cane, the WeWalk Smart cane, which I will have a video coming out very soon for the version 2 that they just announced at CSUN like 2 weeks ago. And I can tell you, spoiler, it's awesome. They have really addressed all the concerns, all the negative comments, I guess you could say, that they got from the previous version. It no longer looks like a dustbuster on the end of a cane. It looks more like a cane. It's waterproof, which I'm like, how is that not a thing for the first one? So, needless to say, that video will be coming soon. I also talk about tips, cane tips, like the actual tip, not like best practices or anything like that. But I do have those kind of videos too. But new cane tips like the OmniSense tip, which was the tip that finally got me back to onto the skate park, going up and down ramps at the skate park for the first time since I was a teenager. Because for the first time I could actually feel when the ramp was going up and down, which was awesome. Don't get me wrong, I'm not any good at it, but I was there. And then we also talk about orientation and mobility, or orientation and navigation. So things like the OCO app. Anybody use the OCO app in here? Familiar? Not all at once. Okay, there you go.
One or
It's
two.
a great application. If you haven't tried it, it's only for iOS, which is kind of a bummer, but it will turn any pedestrian signal into an accessible pedestrian signal. When I was here last year, I had to go to Target, and I used the OCO app to cross the road out here. I did it again last night, but it was so dark I didn't need the app because I could see the sign. But yeah, it's a fantastic application. Also things like Google Good Maps right here. These are all Navi Lens. Here's the Good Maps. So we also talk about now we're going to get into the futuristic stuff. So wayfinding using like haptics and things like that. Good Maps, the strap, the upper left video they're playing is a gentleman demonstrating the strap system, I guess you call it, at CSUN just a couple weeks ago. I was there, I got to try it out. It's interesting. I'm not sold on things that you have to put on, but it is interesting. One thing I also love to talk about is, futuristic things like haptic clothing. The image there at the bottom right is of haptic clothing. So if you can imagine you're using Google to navigate, or Apple Maps, and you say, okay, I want to go to Starbucks. And it says, of course, all right, 20 feet down, you take a right. Well, what if, as you're walking, your right shoulder starts to vibrate, letting you know that a right turn's coming up? Kind of like our smartwatches do, when it starts to vibrate, letting you know that a turn's coming up. Well, what if your right arm would vibrate, letting you know it's a right turn? Things like that. Or even better, obstacle detection. So if you're going to be walking into a tree branch, that area, oops, don't touch the microphone, that area on your chest will start to vibrate, indicating that you're about to impact something in that area. So a lot of possibilities for haptic clothing. I also talk about entertainment, so it's not all about productivity. I love focusing on entertainment. I've tested all the different systems. Spoiler, they're all about the same as far as accessibility. They all have the usual video magnification, text-to-speech. Some have, like, Xbox has this thing called Copilot, where you can, if someone has a mobility impairment or some other impairments that they would need help playing a video game, someone can use the other controller, and you're both controlling the same character. So you're a co-pilot. And it works really, it's pretty cool. My daughter and I tried it and for the video, and it works great. It will break up a marriage, I will let you know that. Especially if you walk their character off a cliff or something. I've tried VR. None of the VRs right now are very accessible for the blind. Once you're in the game, you might have success. When I'm in a VR world, it's amazing. I can see way better than I can in real life. It's incredible. The problem is I can't get to that world because the menu systems of the machines are not accessible. So that's something we're working on. We're working on with Meta and all that. And I just did a full review of the Apple Vision Pro, and that is a very accessible product, but it's still not quite there yet. Okay, and then I also talk about just general consumer electronics. So things like Ring doorbells or video doorbells, Amazon Echoes, Google Homes, all of these digital assistants that are so helpful for our community. Even little things like Keurigs. My life was changed when I got a Keurig and I didn't have to deal with drip coffee anymore. It was fantastic. And it's those little things that people don't think about can have such a huge impact. All right, getting into the cool stuff here. Driverless cars. I mean, I don't think we really need to say anything more than that. It's just any day now. I'm waiting very, very patiently for my driverless car. I will love it. It's going to be fantastic. I was just talking to someone about drones now. They're talking about automated drones that people can sit in and it will just lift off and take you where you need to go. Yes, please. Sign me up for that too. Need to talk to Google or whomever, see if they'll send me one. Okay, so. Oh yeah, here we go. Did my thing mess up? So, robot guide dogs. I love this topic. Now we're getting into the cool stuff. Robot guide dogs, this is a thing people are working on. And in fact, I got to do a test at CSUN. Hopefully that renders correctly. Is my video playing on there?
Yes.
Okay, good, good, good. So that I'm pushing around is called Glidance. For you guys that need audio description, it kind of reminds me a lot of the ball popper that you had when you were a kid. Pushing it in front of you and pop. Yeah. That's basically what it looks like. But it acts very much like a guide dog, to where it is simply navigating. You're pushing it. It's not doing any kind of forward movement. It's just steering you. And so it uses its cameras, the LiDAR and all that to determine the best path for you. And it works okay. It's still a little buggy. They're not quite there yet. It did take me behind a couple people's booths a couple times, and uncomfortably close to people that were standing there. But it's still, it's an interesting concept. There's another one, Seamless Vision, down there. They have like, it kind of reminds me of a baby stroller or a small lawnmower that you walk behind. But it has like moon rover wheels, so it can go up and down stairs and things. It's pretty interesting. Now, I did speak with, actually, the CEO of Seamless. I did an interview with him, and we talked about hard-hitting questions, like Barbara Walters here, where I said, okay, well, first of all, I should preface by saying it drives me crazy when they use terms like, we're going to replace the guide dog. And it's like, no, you're never going to replace the guide dog. And mainly because, there's the whole companion side about guide dogs, companionship. But guide dogs, they teach them, disobedience, intelligent disobedience, is that what it's called? Yeah, and so if you're walking towards a cliff, the guide dog doesn't want to walk off a cliff, so it's going to stop you from walking off the cliff. I'm thinking a robot's not going to care. You want to go off a cliff? Sure, let's go off the cliff. But he assured me that no, there's systems upon systems and redundancies, and they would never let that happen. I'm like, oh no. There's also the question of weight. If you're have to get into a bus, are you going to try and load this thing up onto a bus? Guide dog just jumps right up in there. So there's questions. I still have concerns about the whole thing. But as a techie person, I love it. I think this is all awesome. And that gets us into the big, everybody's talking about right now for assistive technology, AI and assistive technology. It seems like everybody's throwing that into their device. And I mentioned earlier that I don't get excited about new stuff that I see, but AI does get me excited. Just the overwhelming amount of information that you can get and how you can interact with it and get specific information, and just the unlimited possibilities of how to use it. I can scan a menu and get the information I need and ask about the quesadillas. I can take a picture of what's in front of me and it can tell me. I can say, find me an empty chair, and it can do that. The pictures on my wall, are they hung straight? It can do that for me. It's just unlimited, the amount of possibilities with AI. And one of those leading the way is Be My AI. I did a video, if you saw my video where I reviewed Be My AI, I half-handedly mentioned that I wasn't crazy about the name, Be My AI. I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't roll off the top. So the CEO sent me an email. He's like, you don't like our name, huh? We beta tested that name and focus groups. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I just, no offense, I just don't like the name. Well, I don't know what to call it, but I did make sure to, in that video, say how much I love the application. If you haven't tried it, it's free. It's Be My Eyes. You can download it. It's available for iOS and Android. And the Be My AI feature is fantastic. Super, super good. Now, something that I've been recently very interested in, robots for the blind. So Tesla, if you're not familiar, Tesla is in the robotics game. And I only learned this recently. I had no idea. In 2021, this is an image of a very crude looking robot next to like a Star Trek kind of robot. 2021, they launched, or they announced their prototype. Optimus was the name of the robot. And that's the guy on the left there. And it looks rough. It looks like a toaster walking around. I mean, it's better than anything I can do, but still, it's not great. And this thing came out on stage, and they had to keep they had handlers so that it didn't fall over. It was a mess. But fast forward to just December of last year, they brought out Optimus version 2, Gen 2, and this guy is amazing. It literally looks like it just walked out of Star Trek. And it's got super articulating hands, and it's talking about 11 degrees of function in the hands and pressure and using Tesla's Neuralink. And it's incredible. And one of the things they talk about is how one of the very possible future purposes for these robots are to help in healthcare and Parkinson's, things like that. But it's like, can you imagine, I could be up here right now with a robot doing my slides for me. In the very near future, I could have a robot that would take me to the front door of the Starbucks. We would go inside, he would help me find an empty table, he would scan, or he or she, I'm not being, sexist or anything, he or she, it would scan the menu for me and read out what the options were, just whatever I needed, this robot could do for me. And this is the progress they've made in 2 years. This literally could be within the next 10 years we see robots on a mass scale taking over the world.
Hope not.
So yeah, hope not. So yes, so dancing robot here, robots for the blind, yes. Someday, very soon, probably robots for the blind. Now, here is a video, hopefully it's playing.
Yes.
Of also in 2021, robots weren't the only cool thing that happened that year. I had the opportunity to go down to Georgia and fly an airplane. It was a lifelong dream of mine. It was a lifelong goal that I've had since I was 11 years old. And I did a video. The video is called Flying Blind, of course, because we have to get that clickbait. But I talk about the story about how this all came about and how this was a lifelong dream that I had since I was a kid. And it finally came to happen, and once again, it's just to, my channel isn't just about assistive technology reviews. I like to focus on the life side of the blind life as well, and show people that, why not? You want to fly a plane? You can't fly a plane, you're blind. Why not? I just need somebody that believes in me and will give me the opportunity to try. And these fine people did. We did have to hop the fence, but it was okay. Fantastic. My buddy Adam Palmer Vision down in Georgia, he made that happen, and it was it was an amazing experience. And then finally, another series that I have on my channel. I've got several series going, but one of them is called Working Blind, where I speak with people in the community who are working and find out how they're doing it. Why they chose that job, what kind of education did they need or training did they need, what kind of accommodations did they require, when did they divulge their vision impairment during the process? Because I've been asked so many times over the years, what kind of jobs can blind people do? And I'm tired of saying, what do you want to do? That's what you can do. What are you good at? That's what you can do. You find out what you want to do, and then we adapt the job to work for you. So I thought, and full credit, this goes to my wife. She's the one, she's like, you should do interviews with people and find out what they're doing and make a series. That's a brilliant idea. So I did. So I started the Working Blind series. I have over 30 videos, interviews on that as well. That's also filtered into my podcast. Did I mention I have a podcast?
No.
Yeah, the Blind Life podcast I started last year, and it's been going great as well. Available on all major podcast platforms. So I've got a little clip here of my buddy Charlie Collins, who is a infamous member of the, he's an infamous Stargardian like myself. And he's talking about his experience with working. So I'll play that for you guys here.
One day he came out and he tapped me on the shoulder and he asked me, he's like, hey, would you want to work here? And that was the first time I hit the wall of this really big amount of fear crept in. Like, why would he ask me? I'm visually impaired. I'm legally blind. I still had that little chip, even though I did all these jobs, Sam. But I could see others succeeding. I could see, like, I even thought how to improve a business, how we could do things better to treat the customer better. I don't know where that was coming from, but I knew I wasn't going to be the one teaching that or doing that because I was just going to be the guy that had to carry the 80-pound bag all day. He asked me that and it really scared me. I'm like, what would you want me to do? I would like you to sell motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles. And I said, let me check my calendar and I'll let you know. And I went home and I was still living home and I remember telling my mom, I am petrified, there's no way. Now it's stepping up, right? Now I really gotta use my brain, I gotta read. I'm gonna sell and engage with other people. See, all the jobs I did, I really didn't engage with people, a couple of other workers, but I never had to put myself out there. And I went in and I told him, his name was Jimbo. I said, Jimbo, I'll take the job, but you need to understand something. I wanted to say, you're crazy. Don't you know who I am? I'm legally blind. Why would you, I didn't say this, but why would you ever hire me? I'm never gonna succeed for you. We all know we have some sort of calling and burning inside of us. I knew that I had to get into whatever he was asking me to do, but I also knew I don't know if I have the power. And I didn't, because I didn't have the tools. So I said yes. I told him I was legally blind. He agreed. Listen, I know. I can tell by the way you carry yourself, some of the things you do. I knew you had something wrong with your eyes, but that doesn't matter to me or to us. I went, really? It matters to me every day almost. Okay. He goes, I believe in you. I believe by you coming in here and we teaching you and helping educate you how the business is run, that you will be an asset to our business. So don't you ever forget that we believe in you.
So I love that because it kind of sums it all up. You know, it's in our community, I know in most other disabilities, we have self-doubt. We have that little voice in our head that says, you can't do that. You know, are you crazy? You can't do that. You're blind. But sometimes all the time, we're our own worst advocates, and sometimes we need someone to kind of give us a little gentle push. And for Charlie, it was Jimbo, which I love his name is Jimbo. And then I always say that I don't like when people say I'm inspiring. I appreciate it, thank you, that means the world to me, but I don't want to be inspiring, you know, because inspiring means it means that this is not normal. And I want this to be normal. You know, a blind person setting goals, reaching for their goals, achieving them, doing whatever it takes, and being successful at whatever that is, that should be the normal. So I don't think it should be inspiring. I am more inspired by people like yourselves, people that work with the blind community, people like Jimbo who are willing, people like the wonderful people down in Georgia that took me up in the airplane, people that are willing to give us a chance and let us show what we're capable of. So I want to thank you guys. That is it for me. I appreciate it. Check out the keynote. Be sure to subscribe. I'm on the road to 100,000 this year, so if everybody would pull out your phones right now, click subscribe. Thank you, guys. questions. I can do questions.
Where's David? David?
Test.
Do you want to see if people have questions? What?
First, taking out my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Subscribe.
Oh, that's okay.
Do you want to take any questions?
I can, yeah.
Does anyone have? Woo!
Yeah.
Does anyone have questions for Sam? What?
Happy to answer questions if anybody has any.
Yeah.
If we have time, obviously.
I have never known this crowd to be quiet. Where'd you go, David?
I'm hiding behind this. Young friend with the moxie who responded to me. You want to come out and help us with this next section? All right.